India is seeking more oil, drones and aircraft from the US to help narrow its $28 billion trade surplus aimed, raising concerns of the possible collateral damage to its economy from the President Donald Trump of US in the trade spat between China. The Prime Minister of Singapore said that China and India are the new powers which are growing in strength and influence as the global strategic balance is shifting, which has thrown up new opportunities for the cooperation of ASEAN. On the other hand, Asia's third largest economy could bridge the surplus by up to $4 billion through oil imports alone, the government officials said, asking not to be identified as they may not authorize to speak to the media. Later than today, China told that the free trade agreement with India would facilitate more commerce between the two countries. The Chinese Consul General in Kolkata said that I hear that there are certain barriers to trade and invest in both the countries. A free trade agreement will help facilitate more commercial exchanges between the two countries, India and China. India is among the partner countries seeking to allay US trade deficit fears by raising the imports as the Trump administration redraws the bilateral trade plans and seeks to alter the world trade norms. Earlier this month, the US added India to the list of countries it's monitoring for possible currency manipulation aimed at boosting exports. India, which denied its central bank intervention help export, fits one of the main criteria for the countries making the list of a bilateral trade surplus of at least $20 billion. Along with South Korea, India was the only other country to cut its surplus, the merchandise and services with the US after the Trump took charge. The 19th Congress of Communist Party of China held in October 2017 promised more opening up Chinese economy to the outside world and also increase imports from other countries including India. We are keen to import more from India, mostly from the eastern Indian states, said the diplomat. He also said that the educational exchanges between the Indian and the Chinese university was another area for both the countries to work together. On the informal summit between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping, he said that the Indo-China relations would get boosted on the back of these meetings. India's merchandise trade surplus with the US in 2017 fell 6.1% to $22.9 billion, mostly helped by more than double imports of aircraft and parts from the US in the fiscal 2017 to $4.24 billion, a data from the India's Commerce Minister shows. The numbers may vary further this year after the US lifted its 4-decade-long curbs on crude oil exports. The official said, India, which received its first US oil shipment in August 2017, could import oil worth $4 billion, according to one of the officials. On April 19, Trump cleared the US policy on the export of unmanned aerial vehicles that could allow India to buy drones. India, which imports more than 80% of its crude requirements, sourced nearly 12 million barrels of crude oil from the US in the last 6 months. Its 37 billion cubic feet of natural gas purchases over the past couple of years for India will help correct the trade imbalance with India-US, said the US Energy Secretary Rick Perry said in New Delhi on April 17, 2018. On a counterproductive manner, India is importing more from the United States. If it is in its interest, it is a good thing, but Trump's approach to the trade has been fairly negative and counterproductive, said Joshua P. Meltzer, a Washington-based senior fellow at the Brookings Institutions. So what do you think of Trump trade battle surprise India to import more oil and drones from the US? Will Trump be shocked or surprised to see India might be counterproductive to go with China rather than with US? Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India today told us US President Donald Trump that both countries can rise beyond the bilateral ties and work jointly for the future of Asia, reflecting their growth convergence on the strategic issues in the Indo-Pacific region. During their wide-range talkings, which took place on the sidelines of ASEAN Summit in Philippines, Modi assured Trump that India will try to live up to the expectations of the US and the world, and also has thanked the US President for speaking highly about India during his trips. The meeting came a day after the officials of India, the US, Japan and Australia held their talks to give shape to the much talked about the quadrilateral alliance to keep the strategically important Indo-Pacific region free, open and inclusive. The cooperation between India and US has risen beyond the bilateral ties, cooperations, and both the countries can work for the future of Asia and the world. We are moving ahead together on many issues, Modi told Trump in his opening remarks. The US has been pushing for greater Indo-US cooperation in the strategically key Indo-Pacific region, where China has been ramping up its military presence. Wherever President Trump has gone and wherever or whenever he got an opportunity to talk about India, he spoke very highly about India. He expressed optimism about India, and I am assuring that the expectations the world has, the expectation the US has, India has been trying to live up to the expectations and will continue to do it, said Modi. After a 45 minutes meeting at the Sofitel Hotel where Trump is staying, briefing reporters later, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar described the meeting as a cordial, constructive, and very comfortable conversation on bilateral, regional, and global issues. He said the meeting was mainly focused on economic issues, including trade and investments. The two sides discussed how to grow the economic ties and improve market access to each other. He also said the two leaders also discussed the matter relating to the defense cooperations, counter-terrorism, proliferations, the Korean crisis, and situations in the Middle East and the Gulf. A fair amount of time went into the discussions on Afghanistan, said Jaishankar, adding that the Prime Minister Modi briefed Trump on the recent supply of wheat through sea route. In the meeting, Trump described Modi as a friend. It's great to have Prime Minister Modi here. We had him at the White House, and he has become a friend of ours and a great gentleman doing a fantastic job in bringing around lots of factions in India, bringing them all together, Donald Trump said, according to the transcripts released by the White House. A lot of good reporters are coming out of India, so I want to congratulate you, he told Modi. Trump had on Friday praised India's astounding growth after it opened up its economy and also lauded Modi, saying he has been working successfully to bring the vast country and its peoples together. Speaking at the gathering of CEOs on the sidelines of the annual Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or the APEC summit in Vietnamese city of Dong Long last week, Trump cited India as one of the countries in the Indo-Pacific region making strides. The use of the term Indo-Pacific by President Donald Trump has led to the speculation that it may have something to do with Washington's preparing the ground for a rival of so-called the quadrilateral strategic alliance between US, Japan, Australia and India to counter China's rise on the South China Sea or in Asia. The move to set up the quadrilateral alliance comes in the backdrop of growing Chinese assertiveness in the South China Sea. The US has been favoring a large role for India in the strategically key Indo-Pacific region. So what do you think of India and US getting so much closer against China? Will China be angry, or it'll be thinking about tackling it in South China Sea or in the Indian Ocean regions? Post your comments below, and if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and follow us on social networks and subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching. This is WC Daily. Think big, think different. Bye.